Hi folks, this is all the fruit, and fruits never cease to amaze me. This is a fruit which is pretty much unknown to everybody in the West. Very few people have tasted it in Europe or America. And yet, it is so unique and so great and so special that I'm already making, I think, my 4th video about it. Yeah, fruits are a weird thing. At the beginning, I just started making videos about every fruit, trying each fruit, saying how it tastes like. And then sometimes I started to make a second video about the same fruit, whenever there was enough new information. And this one, yeah, this is always good for a surprise. By the way, I read somewhere that some people who planted Akebias thought they would be the size of mulberries or gooseberries. The Akebia fruit is actually pretty much the size of a mango. Quite amazing that they are so unknown here in Europe. Unfortunately, in other parts of the world, I think in the southern US and Hawaii and Australia and New Zealand, correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't check any sources today, I think they're invasive. So maybe it's a good thing that they are not so well known in Europe. So, what's new about this great fruit? Well, first the basics. It's from Korea and Japan and parts of China. There are several species, however, Akebia quinata is the most popular and famous one. Also quite popular here in Germany as an ornamental, but the funny thing is it fruits only in my street. Maybe because they have many, maybe 10, 12 vines growing together, so it's better for pollination than places where they have just 1 or 2 or 3 vines. So very popular as an ornamental, but usually not fruiting in Europe. Yeah, good sized fruits, and you have to know how to eat them. It seems that in Japan and Korea, it is a fruit with a very potent emotional attachment. Like, it seems that basically every old grandfather who moved from the countryside to the city in the 50s, 60s or 70s, they tell their city-born grandchildren about this fruit, which they would search in the hills, they would climb in the forests and shrubberies and collect this from the giant vines. Yeah, the vines are pretty big. They can grow dozens of meters long and tall. And yeah, it seems it was not a fruit which was cultivated on a large scale until recently. It was foraged in the wild, and children would forage it a lot. Why would they forage it a lot? Well, the name is chocolate vine. Guess why? A lot of people said it's because of the purplish brownish flowers. I believed that at first too. But then I read, no, it's actually about the chocolate taste. And then when I tasted the ripe fruits of this plant, yep, they do taste like chocolate. So great emotional value for people from East Asia. If your grandfather has told you about foraging this fruit somewhere in the hills of Japan, China or Korea or some other part of the world, please comment in the videos. And it doesn't stop there. There are people who say that it has a great flavor, so great that they use it to flavor drinks and stuff. Well, for me the flavor is not so great. It's basically very sweet. It has a very mild flavor. And yeah, if it's really ripe, it does taste like kind of chocolate pudding, like chocolate melting in your mouth, or you're eating chocolate which has already been melted. So yeah, the name chocolate vine definitely fits. Yeah, well, people tell a lot of things about the flavor. Some say the flavor is nothing special until they cultivated modern varieties, which you can also transport and trade and store. Some say the flavor is great. It seems that the flavor of each vine is different. The vines here in my street, well, 3 or 4 of them are sometimes bearing fruit. They all taste pretty much the same, not a big flavor. There was one vine which was cut down, which had brighter fruit, also a lot more fruit. That's probably why it was cut down. The people in front of that house complained, the people living in that house maybe complained that it's making too much trash. Now I'm collecting most of the fruits from the other vines, so there is not such a big trash problem. Nobody eats them except for me. People look at me like I'm crazy collecting this thing in the streets. Well, once you collect it, what can you do with it? It's a good size, but part of the size is also air. The outer rind is soft and thick, like half a centimeter. In big fruits it can be up to a centimeter thick. The Japanese and other Asians use it as a vegetable. Well, it's very bitter, and in Asia, bitter things are considered healthy by many societies. The seeds taste quite good, but they are poisonous. Like, the first time I discovered this in my street, I was munching on giant amounts of this fruit for days and chewing the seeds and swallowing them. I don't know how I didn't die or didn't get at least some symptoms. I must have eaten the seeds from maybe 2 or 3 kilograms of Akebia fruit, and I chewed them because I thought they taste good and must be very nutritious, but they're supposed to be toxic. The good stuff is the white goo around the seeds. See this caterpillar, which basically sits in the middle of the fruit, usually is attached, but in this one maybe I shook it too much, so it already came off. Well, you take a portion of this caterpillar, you are careful not to wound the rinds too much. Every time you touch the rinds too much with your spoon, you will feel that it's bitter. It's basically like chocolate cream or chocolate pudding with chocolate chips inside. Oh, and you are not supposed to chew the chocolate chips. Pity the seeds seem to be toxic. I don't know if it's just a rumor, because I ate so many, didn't feel anything, but I seem to have immunity towards a lot of toxic fruits. Great plant. If the seeds were edible too, the young leaves and sprouts and flowers seem to be edible too. And they're also so ornamental that you can... Let me just spit out the seeds. All the parts are so ornamental that you can also decorate foods with them. You can decorate them with the beautiful 5-fingered leaves. You can decorate them with the beautiful brownish purplish flowers. You can decorate them with this fruit. Actually, some people I showed this fruit to. I found a really beautiful one with 5 fruits attached to a stem, like a propeller. They told me this thing is made out of plastic or rubber. They couldn't believe this is a real plant. Wonderful plant. Pity the seeds are not edible. That's what the seeds look like, by the way. After you suck out most of the white stuff and spit them out. Beautiful black seeds. Well, what I told you until now, you can basically get this from my old Akebia video. So why am I making a new Akebia video? I'm running out of new fruits and new videos. Well, don't worry. I have about 1,000 unpublished videos already uploaded on YouTube. A couple more I still need to upload. And idea for thousands of more fruits. So why am I making a new video about this one? Because I noticed something strange in the last years about its taste. Actually, I think I started eating it maybe in 2018. There were a couple of very hot and dry years. 2018 was a record-breaking summer, only 22 was even more record-breaking. It broke the record of 2018, which hadn't been broken for a long time before. 2019 and 20 were also quite hot and dry years, with some very rainy periods, but mostly hot and dry. 21 was pretty cold and wet. And suddenly in 21 those things tasted like chocolate. They were much more sweet than in previous years, despite the cold and wet weather. Those things are very prone to molding or rotting. I mean, you can imagine when they burst open, this is basically spongy soft tissue and a sugar-loaded caterpillar in the middle. Those are very prone to rotting, so they cannot stay forever, especially in bad weather. But they tasted so much better in this year where there was not much sun, and the temperature basically never went above 30 degrees in summer. And then I thought, strange, maybe in that last year I found really ripe fruits. But how can that be? I always eat them when they are open, that means they are ripe. Basically they are closed like this, and then they start changing color and burst open along the seam, and then you know they are ripe. So those ones are really ripe, they are really wide open. Sometimes I pick them when they're open just a little bit, sometimes I pick them when they are still closed because I don't want to go there every day, but usually you should pick them when they are open. So it's not really probable that they were more ripe in the last rainy year when I ate them. So why did they taste like chocolate? And why didn't they taste so great in the years prior? Well, this year they started getting ripe towards the end of this hot, dry summer, which was great for me, but horrible for nature and agriculture and fruits. Yeah, people think that heat and sun are good for all fruits. Well, if this was true, all fruits would thrive best in the desert, if you can water them. No, not all fruits thrive best in the desert. Actually, it seems that each fruit is kind of adapted. Oh, let me get some more of this tasty stuff. I'm just talking and talking. It seems that each fruit is adapted to one or several special climates. Or even has races. Yeah. When you know the name chocolate wine, it does taste like chocolate pudding. Each plant needs a special amount and regime of sun and rain and heat and so on. For a lot of fruits it's good if the last weeks of their ripening process are sunny, but the weeks and months prior should be rainy, at least kind of rainy for them to grow, not too rainy or they will rot or burst. The weeks and months even before that should again be sunny and as dry as possible for the flowers to thrive and so on. It's very pronounced, for example, in wine, where there are basically varieties adapted to certain climates, and if you grow them 20 kilometers away from this climate and this soil, they will not taste good. And this Akebia, so last year it tasted great in the rainy summer. This year it started getting ripe still during the drought after months with almost no rain. And I thought in this sunny, hot, dry weather the fruits would taste much better. First couple batches I ate were meh, nothing special. I even thought I would let the last ones, well, I would let the rest rot because the taste was not good. By the way, this is not a unique thing. I realized in those hot and dry years, the plants are so stressed that a lot of fruits don't taste good. A lot of plants drop the fruits, a lot have small fruits, and a lot of the fruits that they bear, they don't really taste great. Also, it's kind of strange. In 2018, in this hot summer, a lot of fruits got preserved on the trees and shrubs, and you could pick them until the spring of 2019. But in 2022, in this hot, dry summer, most fruits disappeared in no time. Plums, pears, basically apples, most fruit species just were gone in no time. Very strange. And the Akebias tasted bad. But then I wanted to bring some to a friend like a week ago after a week of heavy rain. And I tried some of them. And they were amazing. And my friends also loved them. So why were they bad after months of sun and drought, and then after a week of rain they were great? Now we had like almost 3 weeks of quite rainy weather with some dry and sunny patches in between, but mostly rain and cold. And those things taste amazing. They taste like chocolate. It could be an adaptation to the climate in East Asia. I mean, most parts of Japan and South Korea, they're quite moist. This beautiful chocolatey taste. Oh god, I'm already at 15 minutes. But it was worth it. So every time I pick this thing in the rainy weather, it's sweet as chocolate. Each time I pick it after years or after weeks of heat and drought, it's good, but not that good. It behaves very different from cherries or apples or stuff like that. In rain years, cherries or apples or other European fruit, they taste like nothing. This year tastes great even in rain years. So I guess it will do really well also in rainy climates like the Netherlands or Britain or Norway or the American Northwest. Amazing fruit, folks. So let's not make this video too long. Please tell me your experience with Akebia if you've tried it. Have you noticed taste difference in different weather? Does it taste good in your area when it has rained a lot for a long time? Sorry for the long video and a lot of talking, but I just had to share this new important piece of information. Stay tuned for a lot more fruit videos, also from a lot of new fruit species, sometimes from the beautiful and fruit-rich country of Germany. And if you don't want to miss any more of my videos, because people complain that YouTube stopped suggesting them to them, you have to subscribe to the channel. Sorry, it's necessary. Then you have to press the notification bell, and apparently you also have to turn on notifications in your settings.